Hey, all of my creative entrepreneurs. If you are in a situation where you gave your word on something and it has proven to be very difficult and you're not sure of how you should handle it because it feels like your business could be jeopardized by it and you're not sure which direction to take, you have come to the right video. Today, I want to talk about a good man will keep his word even to his own hurt. Now, that's not scripturally verbatim, but that is based on scripture. And if you are in a situation where you have given someone your word, but it puts something else, some other obligation that you had in jeopardy, it is best to keep your word. Now, I wanted to have this conversation because I myself found myself in a similar situation. Fortunately, I have other assets that I can leverage. If you are building out your business and you don't have a lot of assets already, and let's just say you're working full time and you are your only asset, and like I said, you made a financial obligation to assist or contribute in some way to someone, but you had a payment coming up for your business. It could be for cost of your goods, cost of services, or anything like that. Don't panic, but moving forward, use different language, right? Instead of giving someone a date, and I know sometimes people have their own deadlines and you may feel pressured, the best thing that you can do is tell them simply, and this is really going to help a lot. I will see what I can do to help as soon as I'm able. Now, I know that sounds oversimplified, but trust me, it's going to be a game changer in your life because you definitely want to be a person of integrity, right? A person of honor, and you want to establish self-confidence. What do I mean by that? I was made aware of this concept by Myron Golden, and he basically was sending out a message to entrepreneurs that was dealing with the struggle of having confidence within themselves. And the reason why a lot of times people lack confidence is because they've broken their word to themselves so many times that they can't trust a word that they say, right? You're the only person that's heard every lie that you've ever told. And that will affect your confidence. That's just simply, what it is. So in order for you to get better at your word, instead of setting goals, and now I understand why it's dangerous, setting goals and deadlines, right? You definitely want to move with urgency, right? Because we are dying every day. But you always want to give yourself time to grow. Don't rush the washing machine, right? So it's best to under promise and over deliver every time. So if you give someone your word, you know that you're going to absolutely keep your word, but you don't lock yourself into some goal oriented deadline. You definitely don't want to do that. So set the objective to get it done. But as I said, I'll do my best to get it done as soon as I'm able. Right? Now, someone may pressure you because they may have a goal oriented deadline or just a deadline in general. But the only thing you can do is be honest. That way, you're still being a person of integrity and you're keeping your word. Now, if let's just say whatever they requested, that deadline passes, you still can help them in some way, right? I don't think unless they tell you, hey, never mind that thing. It already passed. I was able to take care of it, but thank you, right? Because you're not locked into a deadline, so they're not going to feel like you were obligated to do it if they're a decent human being. But if they don't do that, then yeah, you can take whatever it was that you was going to help them with and help them in some other way. It just as a good gesture as you showing them that you are in their you're in their corner. And so that's basically what I wanted to, make this recording about. Just being a better person of your word by not locking yourself into something that could, prove not necessarily impossible, but difficult in order for you to fulfill. And that way you're not letting someone else down, right? By not keeping your word, and you're not, giving a hit to your own confidence, right? Because you definitely want to be a person of integrity, a person of honor. You definitely want to keep your word. But all I can say is move with intentionality, but don't rush the washing machine. Sometimes things take time. Sometimes your intention will be disrupted. And it doesn't mean that something is not meant to work or something is not going to work. It actually means that maybe there is something that you simply weren't aware of. And if you put a frame around that fact, right, the disruption, let's say, and you look at and only focus on the positive side of that frame, right? Like now you are aware of something that you weren't, something that came up, a bottleneck that was created, that because you weren't previously aware, it happened. But now that you're aware, you can prevent at least that particular circumstance from ever happening again. Now there may be some other unforeseen circumstances, but at least you know how to prepare and to prevent that particular thing. So there's always a positive side to it. And I had to learn this myself because it can be challenging on this road to as you're building things out because everything is going smooth. Let's just say, for instance, like our e-commerce brand, we got our first sales, right? Sold out the first batch, basically. Gotten our first reviews, right? The social proof is there. The proof of concept is there. The sales is there. It's a real business. But as you're trying to solve for other problems, then other disruption shows up. Well, in my case, some disruption shows up as far as our wholesale partnership in terms of payment processing. But I was able to get around those barriers. And for solving those barriers, other disruptions showed up. But at least everything is working out, right? And we have to maintain a state of optimism. And like Myron Golden says, and I have to give him credit for this because this is important, only give energy to outcomes you desire and understand that you can't rush the washing machine and there will be disruptions that follow your intentions. That's simply the nature of life itself, right? And you've experienced that even as a child, right? I like to use these examples because all of these microcosms matter moving forward, right? In the grand scheme of everything, because these patterns can be traced across all domains of learning, right? When you were a child, you stumbled along the way to being able to take consistent, confident steps when you were learning how to walk. There's always going to be a pattern of disruption that shows up. Doesn't mean you're on the right path. It's usually an indicator that you are on the right path. You simply weren't aware of an adjustment that needed to be made, right? Or some level of information that you needed to become aware of, right? And just understand the purpose of learning is mastery, not simply knowing, right? And that will take time. Give yourself time. Yes, move with intensity, right? Wisely, I might add, but give yourself time. So in the matter, like I said, and I want to repeat it, of keeping your word, don't lock yourself into deadlines because things do show up. You let a person know as soon as you can, as soon as you're able, you'll help. That's it, right? You'll do your very best to help as soon as you're able. And I'm telling you, it's going to take a lot of pressure off you, and it's going to show that you're a person of your word. Now, that doesn't mean take yourself off the hook. And you're not telling them something that placates them, that takes pressure off you. It's not about that. It's about you being able to have the room to keep your word without any unrealistic expectations, right? Because you don't want to have it where you are aiming to, and then a disruption shows up and you're not able to be there for them, right? Now, at the same time, if that opportunity shows up, you need to actually do the thing, keep your word, right? Even if it sets you back somehow. Because here's what I do know. If you're generally wise in your decision making, even if something feels like a temporary setback because you're keeping your word, say like you have a bill in your business or something that is due, but you've given someone your word and you notice that their deadline is coming up and you do have it to give, but there's some way that you can gain an extension on the end of your business. Just do the right thing and keep your word, because that seed that you're sowing is going to come back in a good harvest for you. Just know that. But just moving forward, give yourself cushion and make sure that you have enough. How would I say that? You have enough emergency funds or something like that put away for such instances to either help yourself or help someone else, right? That's what we want to do, and that's why we're building out these assets to begin with. And you see how even these situations absolutely justifies why we should be building out more assets and why we should be creating certain levels of wealth. It's not about our own personal consumption or storing up things for ourselves, as scripture said. It's so we can lay things up for our loved ones and our family, be able to help those in need. It just simply makes sense. Now we see why only making enough for you to be comfortable and for you to get by is one of the most selfish things that we all can do, right? Because the cost of living will continue to go up. Inflation is a reality that we all have to deal with, right? The value of the US dollar goes down, right? And you don't want to, as currency's changing, when you don't have any financial leverage, it can make it even harder for you to switch over into some new form of currency, right? So I feel like asset creation is very important. And just as a reminder, if someone is asking you for help while you're building things out, right, and you really want to be there for them, either be honest and say, hey, I honestly don't have it, but I will see what I can do, or I'll do my best to help as soon as I'm able. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.